So today we will understand about the practice of Mangal Maitri. Now, this is a practice in which we share the goodwill, the tranquility that we have experienced while doing the practice. So, of course, it doesn't have to be limited only to after the sessions. It can be any time in your ordinary moments of every day, and it's a highly beneficial practice to do, very simple and highly beneficial. What is this practice? So, when one does a session like this, when one does a practice like this, one increasingly experiences tranquility to uh, various depths. As the practice intensifies, the experience of tranquility will also intensify. So, even if you have a taste of that tranquility, even if it's for a few seconds, you will realize that those are really special moments. Why? Because you experience that sense of peace, which is very elusive in this everyday life that we are leading, the hectic life that we are leading. We are very rarely able to experience that. And when you are able to experience it, then you're able to get a glimpse into what lies in store when you go deeper with this practice. So you feel really good when you experience this tranquility, this peace of mind. And this practice of Mangal Maitri involves sharing this goodwill, this tranquility with all others. So, the beings of the higher realms, so there are 31 levels of existence as are described. One is the human realm, four lower realms, and rest 26 are higher realms, which include Devalokas, Brahmalokas, etc. So, if you believe in this, it's okay. If you don't, even then it's okay. So, if you don't believe in it, then just believe that when one experiences deeper tranquility, then one experiences a higher state of vibration. So you're in one of those higher states of vibration, which is all scientific. And if you Google, you'll find enough research on this about various states of existence, mental states at different frequencies of vibration. And if you do believe that there can be various realms of existence, so there are these Devalokas and there are these Brahmalokas beyond that. And the beings in those realms of Brahmalokas, they always are existing in the mental states of deep tranquility. So they're primarily four of those mental states which the beings in the Brahmalokas exist in. So it's a default state for them. So one is compassion. They have extreme compassion. They have extreme uh, sympathetic joy or mudita. Compassion is karuna. Sympathetic joy is mudita, which means that you experience joy in the success of others. Very often, when we see others being successful, we have this strange feeling of unease, maybe twinge of jealousy, of unease, of discomfort in seeing others succeeding. Very often, we may be aware of it, and most often, we are not aware that we are experiencing such, uh, sensations or such feelings. Regardless, what the beings in the Brahmalokas experiences this mudita, where they find extreme joy when they see others happy and successful. So, karuna, mudita, upekha or equanimity, which is what we also practice when we do this anapansati. Equanimity is you maintain that sthit pragyata, you maintain that balance in the face of the challenges of life. So, ups and downs of life will come, they come for everyone. The zeniths and the nadars of life, everyone's life is the same. The intensities, the frequencies will vary depending on our past karma, but they are part and parcel of everyone's life. Our conditioning is such that when the ups are there, the successes are there in life, then we dance with joy. When the downs are there, then we go to the other extreme and we feel sad, depressed, etc. So we are just vacillating from one extreme to the other, maybe not physically, but mentally. And in that process, we end up doing a lot of harm to ourselves. Unknown to us, we do a lot of harm to ourselves. When we understand that this is the way life is, this is the default way of life, whenever desirable unfoldings are there, there is a phase of desirable happenings, successes, wanted situations, they will soon be replaced by undesirable situations, by unwanted happenings, unfoldings, etc. And that will also end sometime. And then again, there'll be some desirable situations, etc. So this continues, they keep on alternating. And the secret of a happy, peaceful life is to live with that wisdom without getting impacted by these ups and downs of life. And this is what this training does, this practice of anapansati. So the upekha or the equanimity. And the last, the fourth quality is the Mangal Maitri. So Maitri is this sense of wanting everyone to be happy, to be peaceful, to be joyful, to be free from worry, disease, hunger, fear, etc. So we focus on understanding how this can be done, the practice of Mangal Maitri. So it is very simple. Whatever in life we send out will come back to us. It's a law of nature. And it's scientifically proved every action as an equal and opposite reaction. We learned that in school in the one of the physics classes, Newton's laws. Every action is an equal and opposite reaction. And when you understand it at a subtler level, aligned with the laws of nature, then you understand that whatever you do, whatever you think you send out, will come back to you with greater intensity, with more or equal at least intensity. So if you send out good thoughts, they will come back to you. If you do good deeds, they will come back to you sooner or later. And similarly, when you do unwholesome actions, unwholesome thoughts, then you will also get the rewards or punishment for that. Nature is doing it. Nature will not see whether you've got the label of a Hindu or a Buddhist or a Sikh or a Christian or a Jew on your forehead. What label you are carrying, nature doesn't see that. This is the Sanatan Dharam. This is the eternal laws of nature, regardless of what attire you have, what religion you belong to. What nationality, caste, color, creed, doesn't make a difference. You do unwholesome actions, you will get punished immediately. How do you get punished immediately? You will lose your peace of mind, you will lose your tranquility for those moments when you're indulging in those actions, either at the level of the mind, body, or speech. You will not be peaceful, you will not be tranquil. So that is the immediate punishment when one does anything unwholesome. And then in future, when those seeds of the unwholesome action give fruit, then again we bear the brunt of our action. So nature is rewarding or punishing us as per our actions. So why not make a better choice? Why not be in that state where we are constantly sending out positivity out into this creation, into this nature? And this is what this practice of Mangal Maitri is. So, in this practice, first we send positive vibrations to ourselves after the end of the sitting. We prepare ourselves for sending out the positivity to the others. And in that process, we offer compassion to all beings. We forgive all those who might have hurt us. And if in that preceding day there was some incident where somebody said something, did something to hurt you, and you carrying those thoughts, those bitter memories, and you have anger or negativity towards that person, you think of that person and you forgive that person. If somebody did something which hurt you 10 years back, 20 years back, 40 years back, 50 years back, maybe in your childhood, and from somewhere that thought about that incident comes to the mind on that day, and you think about that person with bitterness again include that person in your list of people you have to forgive, you have to be compassionate towards. Doesn't make a difference what that person did, how wrong it was, etc. If you hold on to that or any negativity, then you're just damaging yourself. So that understanding has to be very clear, that if I hold on to any negativity, any uh, kind of anger or hatred towards anyone, and I wish anyone ill, then bad things may not happen to that person, may or may not. Nature will reward him or her according to their deeds. But I will definitely make myself miserable. The more negativity I send out, I will become miserable in those moments. And I will again become miserable when those negativities, those negative vibrations come back to me, as nature will send them back to me. Yeah. So I make sure that I forgive everyone regardless of what they did. Don't get into that rationalizing that what that person did is unforgivable. Nothing is unforgivable. If you want to hold on to, it's like holding on to burning coals. I've got burning coals which somebody with great delight gave to me, and I was silly to accept them, to have accepted them in the first place. And is it really wise to hold on to them? But that's the way some of us are some of the time. We made the mistake of accepting those burning coals in the first place. And we further that mistake by continuing to hold on to those burning coals. I will never forget that person. Till the time I live, I will never forgive him or her for what they said or did to me. Don't. If you don't, you will suffer. You will suffer. Those burning coals will continue to burn through you. So, what will a sensible person with wisdom do? Firstly, they will not accept those burning coals. They will try and stay away from those burning coals. Even if they do, because that's a past intense conditioning of the mind, they've reacted and they accepted the burning coals. They will make sure that they get rid of them ASAP. They will ensure that they don't allow such negativity to find deeper roots in their mind. If they find that such negativity exists in the mind, then their wisdom will enable them to uproot that negativity and eliminate it from their mind. Yeah, so forgive, keep on forgiving till the time you keep on having thoughts about those people who've harmed you, hurt you. You're doing yourself a favor. Once that is clear, that I'm not doing anyone else a favor, but to my own self, then it becomes easier. Otherwise, we keep on holding on to grudges and grievances for a lifetime. And they damage you inside, which becomes apparent in the various psychosomatic ailments which people suffer from. And at a very tangible level, you will experience uh, that sense of unease, that sense of, uh, the load which you're carrying around your back, around your neck, the tightness around the neck area, the cervical area. That load will just keep on increasing. And very soon, as the sanskars multiply around that area, you will start experiencing further discomfort in terms of cervical issues, shoulder pains, etc., etc., or various kinds of pains and aches, lower back problem, or and then you start that endless cycle of tests and running to the doctors, physiotherapists, etc., which is just going to be superficial in terms of uh, the cure that they might offer. So why not cure yourself just using this simple practice of Mangal Maitri? Just eliminate all the negativity on a daily basis, on a regular basis from the heart. So initially, even if it comes from a superficial level, you've forgiven somebody, but you're unable to uh, forget because that scar is so deep. And yeah, there are those scars inside which are left. Scars in an abstract form, they are these memory imprints, the karam sanskars which you've created because of that aversion, which are lying inside. When you acquire the ability to go within, you will come face to face with them. You will see them for yourself if and when you do take a deep dive. So, till then, at least get rid of that load which you're carrying. Why would you want to carry the load of the world on your back? and keep on adding every day by thinking about various individuals who've hurt you, harmed you, caused you pain repeatedly again and again. So, when immediately after the practice, when you do Mangal Maitri, you include all those people. And this is the only time when you do this entire practice where you can visualize a person's face. So, a person you are sending out Mangal Maitri to, you can visualize their face, take their name, and send them this forgiveness. Do it once, twice, thrice, depending on how much they've hurt you. The more they've hurt you, send them more forgiveness. You're getting rid of more negativity by doing it. So, this is what you do immediately after the sitting, after a anapan sitting. But if you have these negativity, such negativity during the day, ordinary moments of life, you're sitting and suddenly a thought about some unpleasant incident comes to mind, and you start thinking about a person who caused you pain. Then first step, become aware that you're having that negativity playing out. You're having that pattern which has started playing out again. Then just calm your mind if possible by doing anapan, even for a few seconds. And once the mind is settled, then start by giving forgiveness, sending forgiveness to that person, and wishing that person well. Now, please be very clear that you're doing it for yourself. Now, whether good things happen to that person or not is not your concern. When you send out positive vibrations, nature will boomerang them back to you. So they'll come back to you also. So you're doing it for yourself. So have that clarity that you're not doing anybody else a favor when you forgive or when you send out positivity to the people who have hurt you, harmed you. So that is one aspect of the Mangal Maitri. Another aspect is that if you want to get rid of fears that you have, and many of us have various kinds of fears, there are so many of them, including the fear of death, etc. So when you have that sense that you have a lot of fears and you need to get over them, then start practicing Abhaydan. In this practice of Mangal Maitri, you send out that assurance to all beings in this creation, all beings, not only human beings, all beings in this creation, that you shall not harm them. So, and follow that up with matching actions. So, when you say that I will not harm any being, then have congruent actions. Immediately after saying that, you feel that a mosquito is biting you, and you just whack it and crush it. Then there is no congruency there. There is no, the walk and the talk are not in sync. So you have a choice there. So if you feel that the mosquito is biting you, then you can just brush it off rather than swatting it. Like that, you'll always have a choice. So send out Abhaydan and ensure that you align your actions with that process. So When you do that, when you send out this fearlessness in this creation into nature and align it with matching action, nature will start making you fearless. You will start getting free from your fears. Now, it's as with this entire practice, have very, very tempered expectations. Don't come with expectations that you will experience deep tranquility within the first month and you will start having out of the world experiences, out of the body experiences within a few months of meditation. We are not doing this practice to have those kind of eclectic experiences. They are part of this journey. They will come, they will go. That is not our destination. The uh, understanding should be that I have to change my past conditioning of being in a reactive nature and learn how to get established in wisdom more and more. What is the wisdom that should start coming in? To be more in acceptance of whatever is unfolding right now in my life. Otherwise, we are constantly in denial. We are constantly in that mode where we refuse to accept the reality as it has unfolded. Why? Because we don't like it or we wanted it some other way. And we keep on struggling with it. We keep on grappling with it. And that's how most of our life would then go. We accept. Why do we accept? Because we understand that this is the fruit of my past actions. Nobody else is responsible for it. Nobody else. I am 100% responsible for everything that is unfolding in my life, good, bad, ugly, everything. 100% responsible. And when that starts becoming the default state, then you've got sorted. It takes time, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of patience, diligent effort, everyday effort. And as you go deeper with the practice and you try and stay in that state more and more every waking moment of life, and very soon it'll become a state which will be part of you even when you are sleeping, that state of awareness. So uh, that is why in some of the ancient scriptures or texts, you know, it is, you would have come across the statement that a yogi sleeps when he's awake and he's uh, awake when he's sleeping. So, which is confusing. Many a times you don't understand what this really means. When he's awake, he's sleeping or he's asleep because he's absolutely rested. He's not expending any energy by uh, being in that state of non-acceptance. When you're in that state of acceptance, then you're absolutely at ease, absolutely at peace with whatever the way the world is, your world, what you've created for yourself. You're at ease. You are in that deep state of acceptance, which does not mean that if there is anything untoward which has happened, you should not take any corrective action. You take corrective action, you learn from your mistakes which you've made in the past, you learn from the past, you plan for the future, but you don't get obsessed with either. So you don't get obsessed with what happened in the past or what should happen in the future. You've got plans for the family, you've got plans for your profession, for your business, and it doesn't work out. You're not obsessed with it. You accept this is the reality. And then you go back to the drawing board. Maybe I need to uh, plan it differently. And then you start working again in the present. So learn from the past, plan for the future, but stay in the present. Yeah. So uh, the Abhaydan we've covered the compassion. We've largely covered all the broad aspects of the Mangal Maitri. So after having that understanding, how do you do Mangal Maitri? So you, after the sitting, you should do it because then you are in that state of uh, a relaxed mind. Your mind is relatively more relaxed, more tranquil. And when you do Mangal Maitri with a tranquil mind, then it starts coming from a deeper place. It's more effective. So it doesn't mean that you should not do it in other situations. So when you are, for example, uh, going for a morning walk or going for a run, or you're in the marketplace and you see somebody uh, who deserves your compassion, maybe an animal or a human being, but you're not in a situation where you can honestly do anything else to alleviate their suffering, then at least you can give them Maitri. But it should not become an excuse for not doing more. But everyone is the best judge of the situation and what they can do. So at least you can send them Maitri. Just for a few seconds, when you see somebody who's in distress, there's nothing else which you can do practically to alleviate their suffering, then at least you can do the least you can do is give Maitri to them. Just stand there. You don't have to stand over that person or that being. Wherever you are, you're seeing that being in distress, just send Maitri. Others are maybe doing their job, helping, whatever. You can't, for whatever reasons you have. Send them Maitri. It's coming from a superficial level. At least you're making some contribution. But again, I'm repeating, it should not become an excuse for not doing more. You can always do more. Yeah. And it helps also when you are helping somebody who's ailing. When you're helping somebody, you're providing care to somebody who's ailing. Now, you can do it. Sometimes you can get frustrated if it's somebody who's been suffering for a long time in the family and you have to constantly give care. Sometimes it can be frustrating. It could be a frustrating condition. But if you understand that the same thing, if you were in that position and you can be, old age will come. How would you feel if you were getting that care, you were getting whatever attention you needed with compassion? How would you feel if you have that kind of empathy? So that's the difference between sympathy and empathy, and compassion always comes along with this empathy. You understand the the, the pain of the others, you can feel it, and then you, out of that compassion, you act. So you can give Mangal Maitri anytime, anywhere. You think about anyone who's harmed you, as we discussed earlier, you send out Maitri to such person, etc., etc. So these are ordinary moments of everyday life. After the sitting, how do you practice Mangal Maitri? So I'll share my template, how I practice it. I will do it in Hindi, and uh, basis this, you can customize your template, or you can uh, modify it to suit your preference of how you want to do it. So this I'm just sharing the way I do it. You're free to modify or take from it what suits you, what appeals to you. So you sit down again with closed eyes. Body should be as relaxed as possible. And then first you give Maitri to yourself, after which you will give Maitri to the others. मैं हर तरह से निरामय बनूं, निरापद बनूं, राग विहीन बनूं, द्वेष विहीन बनूं, मेरे गिले शिकवे दूर हों, मेरी किसी से कोई रंजिश नहीं है, मैं हर तरह से आजाद शत्रु हूं, मैं सात्विक बनूं, इतना धर्मवान बनूं, इस काबिल बनूं, ये असंख्य जन्मों तक शुद्ध धर्म का वितरण कर सकूं, ताकि असंख्य लोग अपने दुखों से मुक्त हों। इस कार्य हेतु खूब ध्यान करूं, खूब सेवा करूं, खूब दान करूं, मेरा खूब भला हो, खूब मंगल हो, खूब कल्याण हो, खूब स्वस्ति हो, मुक्ति हो। सब जीव, दृश्य अदृश्य, छोटे बड़े, मानव अमानव, जल में रहने वाले, थल पे रहने वाले, आकाश में रहने वाले, दसों दिशाओं में रहने वाले, दूर हो या पास, मनुष्य हो या मनुष्येतर, बिना पैर वाले, दो पैर वाले, चार पैर वाले, अनेकों पैर वाले, सभी सुखी रहें। कोई भी प्राणी मुझसे भयभीत न रहे, मैं किसी को क्षति नहीं पहुंचाऊंगा। कोई भी प्राणी मुझे, मेरे परिवार को व मेरी संपत्ति को क्षति ना पहुंचाए। मैं सबको क्षमा करता हूँ, क्षमा करता हूँ, क्षमा करता हूँ। मैं समस्त गलतियां जो किसी ने भी जाने अनजाने में की हों, सब मुझे क्षमा करें। मेरी समस्त गलतियां जो मैंने जाने अनजाने में की हों, मैं अपने आप को क्षमा करता हूँ। अपनी समस्त गलतियां कोई भी प्राणी भूखा न रहे, भयभीत न रहे, व्याकुल न रहे, रोगी न रहे, सबके दारिद्र दुख दूर हों, सबके गिले शिकवे दूर हों, मेरे असंख्य पूर्वज जहाँ कहीं भी हों, सभी मेरे ध्यान से अर्जित पुण्य में भागीदार बने, हिस्सेदार बने, हिस्सेदार बने। चारों ओर खूब सुख शांति हो, समृद्धि हो, संपन्नता हो, खुशहाली हो, करुणा हो, मुदिता हो, उपेक्षा हो, मैत्री हो, सबका खूब भला हो, खूब मंगल हो, खूब कल्याण हो, खूब स्वस्ति हो, मुक्ति हो। Okay, so if anyone has any questions about this practice, please feel free to unmute yourself and share. Yes, please.
Sir, continue to feel overwhelmed by my mother's condition, and it seems it's come into my body, the resentment and the extreme, frustration of seeing her suffer over years. So, and have seen friends around me, all of them who have had such relationship in their family members have had either problem of the knees or the back. There's been a lot of pressure. I took on a course also this year. So I'm just wondering that, and with the lack of discipline on my end, like there's been so much of aversion to sitting for the practice. So I'm just hoping that with renewed thing now, since what I heard yesterday from you, about discipline, I hope to sit now and do that regularly.
Yeah. So take this as a great opportunity. So my mom's also here. She also joins the sessions daily, and I see a cognitive decline over the past 2.5 years. She's going to turn 88 soon. And I think I take it as an opportunity to serve in whatever way I can. I'm just uh, because one is that the debt, the Matririn, it is said you can never repay it. You can, Buddha described it that like Shravan Kumar, if you carry your parents on your shoulders, both of them sitting in a basket on either end of the stick that you carry on your shoulder, and you circumvent, you go around the globe on your knees carrying them in this fashion, and your knees, your legs start bleeding, and you get submerged in that blood. Even if you do this much, even then you cannot repay the debt of your parents. And the only way you can repay their debt is by enabling them to come out of this suffering of lifetimes by coming on to a path of this Sanatan Dharma, which is completely, as you're now aware, it's completely devoid of any religion. It will enable them to come out of the suffering of countless lifetimes in the past and countless lifetimes which are likely to be in store if one doesn't start the work. That is the only way to repay that debt. That is one aspect. And the other is, if the debt is so huge, I have to do everything possible to repay it by taking care of them with compassion. I'll always have a choice. I do it with all the love, all the affection, and the joy that I get because I'm repaying it. I was in that same condition a few decades back when I was a child and I was cared for by them when I couldn't care for myself. And now they're in a condition where they can't care for themselves. So that's the least which I can do. And I do it. I try and be aware of any time any frustration comes up, because there are moments when sometimes you tend to get frustrated because there are other uh, things that you have to do. But even when they do come up, I try and remain aware of them and uh, be as compassionate as possible. So that's what I would suggest. If you're having this opportunity, then if you have, if you're in that situation, then treat it as an opportunity. You're getting an opportunity to repay that debt. And I'll share with you. So the previous dog we had, he developed some nerve issues, and his hind legs got paralyzed. And the vet had told me that, just put him to sleep. He had told me a year and a half earlier, and he's one of the best vets in Delhi, who I've been going to for 2 decades. And I knew that he wouldn't say that until unless he was absolutely certain that there is no way out. And so he had said it a year and a half earlier when that nerve related ailment started, etc. He said it's just going to get worse, best to put him to sleep. And I didn't. And I would, whenever I would, nurse him, I would have to put in a catheter to drain his urine and do it a couple of times a day because he couldn't, uh, you know, go out and do his pass his urine because his hind legs were paralyzed. And all along, when I was doing it, I would just tell him, I would talk to him, and I would tell him, uh, "Buddy, you must have served me in some past life, and I'm getting this opportunity to serve you back, to repay that debt." And I would do it with that conviction that I'm getting this opportunity to serve him in that manner. So uh, this is how I feel. Of course, there were moments of frustration which would come in, but I would look at it as an opportunity. If you don't, you will have to repay that debt, whether it is monetary or in some other form. You will have to repay it in some future life. If you don't clear it now, you will have to settle it in some future life. Maybe if it remains unpaid, then I might have to just take another birth to repay that debt. I don't want that. So I want to clear all my debts as much as possible right now in this life. Who knows what debts remain outstanding from the past? That's just an insight into my perception. So, which I thought I'll share. So, if you are in that situation, take it as an opportunity to repay the debt, do it with love and compassion. That's a choice. Yeah. You will enjoy it more. Yeah.
Sir, when there is anger or resentment coming from the person whom I'm caretaking, or because I have couple of situations here, not only one person. So then what happens is that I feel it's like like just when I was hearing the Mangal Maitri, it felt like there is a, how do I explain, there's a cloud or a weed all around me which has gripped me. I felt quite a lot of it around me in terms of the thing which comes into my body. I'm not able to protect myself also by the virtue of my profession, the trauma work. So it is actually a lot. So the body is not able to. I was just thinking I have a 5 days off when my daughter will be away. So maybe I go back to a Vipassana sitting and sit there for a while and then regain back some balance.
Yeah. See, so when you do acquire that ability to take a deep dive and you're able to see what lies at the depths of the mind, you will realize that we've tied ourselves. You will actually get to see that. And it's amazing when you come across, all the, so there's these similes used. He said something which pierced my heart. And you will come across that. All those tiny, tiny arrows of uh, crude remarks, nasty remarks. They're like tiny, tiny needles which you come across. They're like arrows which are there around that region. There are these bondages which will reveal themselves, which when you go to the depths of the mind. And it's only when you reach there, then you can, unravel them. Otherwise, you will get that sense that you are gripped, you're tied down, but you don't understand why. Because it's happened at such a depth where you are unable to access that depth. So, no matter what kind of medication or um, uh, Western understanding of psychoanalysis, etc., is there, it is impossible to go to that depth. Impossible. Just by doing CBT or some therapy or the other, catharsis will take place only at a superficial level, maybe slightly deeper. But when you go deeper, then you are, awestruck. So that's what will happen if you stay with it. And you have to stay with it if you're really wanting to make sense of life and make the best of this opportunity. So it should be very clear. It's a great, great opportunity, this human life. And with this practice, we can maximize it. even as a householder, with all our responsibilities. Because if what do I want to give to my loved ones? The best, very best. My children, my family, what do I want to give them? The very best that is possible. But if I'm filled with misery and suffering, then I'm also sharing that with them, because the vibrations of misery, suffering do not remain limited to the framework of this body. They permeate the the environment around me, and the ones who are staying with me, who are being given, or I'm trying to give them love and care. I might not say it, but I'm also making them a part of this misery, because those vibrations are being experienced by them also. So, not only for yourself, but also for the ones you love, they will benefit, because you can only share what you have. If I have got vibrations of compassion and goodwill, those wonderful vibrations, then whoever comes in contact with me will also experience them. So I've got this, field around me, this electromagnetic field, which is having its frequency. And this frequency is the frequency of these positive emotions. So if I want to expose my loved ones to positivity, then I'll try to fill myself with more of that. You always have a choice. Okay, so one second. I think there are no other questions, then we'll conclude. So we'll conclude the morning session, wishing everyone more moments of this awareness and equanimity in the ordinary moments of life that lie ahead. Today, to make the best of this day that is ahead of you by filling that day with more awareness and equanimity. Do remember to practice the Mangal Maitri after the session concludes. See you again in the next session. Namaste.